Hello and welcome to another Gardener's Wilt-Shire video. I'm your host Luke and this is another of my hobby vlogs. So if you would have seen from my last one, I started a brand new army, a Moria Goblin army. And as you can see, it looks a little bit less. This was because it was in preparation for the Final Fate of the Witch King tournament that is happening next month, so I think it's October the 14th. And I originally thought it was 500 points, but it's actually 400. So with goblins, that equates to a captain and a warband. So they've been put away, and some have been saved for possible WoG Marauder conversions. So the shield guys in particular, the ones that face forward. So yeah, it's a little bit less. It's now only 39 models instead of 52, which is still quite terrifying at 400 points. Did a couple practice games with Dowie, I think it was last week or the week before, and each game they absolutely smashed his army, to be fair. Not sure how he'll feel about me saying that, but I was pretty confident with him, just because of the numbers. So yeah, I think I said in the last one I'd come back when they all had their base colours, and as you can see they all do. Looking a little bit too bright for goblins, but that's the idea with the base colours. You sort of put your colours on, then you wash, don't you? Cave Troll again at the back, just to give an idea of numbers. To be fair, he will probably have just a few touch up around the face, and maybe just a few sort of dry brushes to pick out the skin a little bit more, especially so his back doesn't look too bad with the lighter grey, so I might just go over that, particularly around his legs where he's got the knobbly bits, and then just his loincloth as well, probably go over in a lighter brown, create some highlights. So I think I showed you the archers and the archer captain last time. Everyone else has been done in the same colour scheme. So it's the green flesh, I think it's war flesh, and then we've got a red tunicky colour, and that is Wazdaka red. A brown just on some of them for the leathery bits and cloth, so that is Mornfang brown, and then the hair is done in sort of a dark bluey colour, and that is Stegodon Stale green. So it doesn't say blue in the name, but it's actually comes out blue anyway. So I'll show you just quickly the sword and spearman. So yeah, with the sword and shield, I decided to have all the guys that are sort of facing forward and running up. So the other pose is sort of a face-on type thing where they've got their legs slightly wider, which is why I've decided to keep them out of the way and use them for conversions in the future. Also a spearman as well, exactly the same. I'll also show you my shaman and Durbers models, because they're probably the most interesting, to be honest. So I really like these poses, very similar to one another. So they've both got their sort of arm pointed forward in command, really. Really like how Shaman's come out so far. Again, not much to say because it is the standard sort of colouring. So once the wash has gone on, it will be a case of just highlights. I debated even doing highlights on the warriors, but I think I'll leave it to keep that sort of dark, gringy look that they have in the film, sort of dirty and things like that. With Durbers as well, I wasn't sure how to do him, because if you look sort of under his head, he's got sort of, I think they're neck rolls. He does look quite chunky, so I think that is part of his flesh. That's how I painted it anyway. Don't know if that's supposed to be right, but it looks okay. Again, nothing too special, just literally the standard colour scheme. He's got a bit more of an interesting base, so he should be able to stand out a lot more when it's done. So I think the next step I will do is get the grey on the bases, so they look like the one for my cave troll. And then if I do go over in a wash and it creates a bit more shadow on the base, then happy days. Save me a bit of work on that. And then the wash will come after, so I'll probably come back on that stage, so when the base is done and the wash is on. And then I'll decide from there what I want to do, whether the warriors look okay as they are, or they do need sort of highlights or anything. Other than that, hopefully this should be a fairly quick hobby vlog. So what's the date today? It is the 21st of September. So the tournament is in 3.5 weeks. I am on schedule to get these guys done. As long as I don't need to highlight them all. That might take a little bit longer than expected. But it's mainly just the heroes and the troll that I'll probably put the most attention to. So they stand out more than anything, because they might get lost on the battlefield, especially with 39 models at 400 points. Quite terrifying. So yeah. And coming back in now to show you a lot of progress, to be fair. As you can see, they all look tabletop worthy. All the bases are done and the washes have been put on. I decided to go for an Agrax Earthshade wash to create a dirtier look rather than just darker, which is what I wanted, to be honest. So yeah, I think they work. I'll show you some of the troops first, just because I think these guys are good to go as they are, if I'm honest. Let's get a bit of better lighting. There we go. So yeah, simple base, just greys, lighter greys, dry brushed on, and then the black rim. But yeah, the Agrax I think makes it look a lot dirtier rather than just having darker recesses type thing. And seeing as they live in a dingy dungeon type, well, in its heyday it wasn't, but goblins have turned it into one. Moria is this type of environment now. So yeah, really happy with how they look. There's an archer for you. Again, yeah, the recesses are darker, but the armour looks a bit more weathered. The cloth especially looks a bit more weathered, to suit the sort of the darker feel I wanted. Not darker, dirtier, sorry. There we go. So yeah, the troops I'm going to call done, just because I don't want to do too much work to them. It is a week and a half until the tournament starts, I think. No, two weeks, sorry. 2.5 weeks till the tournament is on in Cheltenham, the Final Fete of the Witch King. Mel has just released the rules pack, and there's some sort of debate going on whether Horde armies will benefit. Personally, I don't think so, but we shall see. So the only work I'm going to do left is on the Goblin Captain, Goblin Shaman, Durbers, and the Cave Troll. I put a little bit more of a wash on the Cave Troll, another Agrax Earthshade, just to create a bit more definition, especially in his face and the chain as well, because that was a bit too bright. So now it's looking a bit darker. So the face, I think, is pretty much there. It's just the other skin tones now I need to do on the troll. And then I think it's just going to be a case of a few highlights on the armour. On the faces you can see the teeth as well, so I'm going to try and pick those out. So we can get a nice shot of the captain's face here. So yeah, you can see the face. There's a lot of detail in there. So I may even do, yeah, I'll do the teeth, I think, because they will stand out more. Yeah, other than that, it's just going to be a case of highlighting the armour. I'm not going to really bother doing anything else. Pretty much the same with the Shaman. See if we can get a close up on his face. You're gonna focus. Not really, but you can sort of see from here. Let's see if I can get. There we go. That's a little bit better. There we go. So again, the teeth really show up. So the only highlights is going to be the armor and possibly just a few of the on the strapping on the spear there, on the bottom of the spear, and that's it. And then Durbers, see how he comes out. Again, teeth and armor. That's pretty much it, and probably his sword as well. Other than that, these are good to go. So yeah, literally those four left to highlight up. Troops are done, looking ready to rock up to Cheltenham. This is my first sort of big army I've done as a whole. I've done bits and pieces. Sort of the only other army I've done is my Rivendell Knight one. That was for Into the West earlier this year, where I did my 10 Knights and Elrond. But this is 3 times the size. And only one was sort of pretty much done. That was the Troll. So yeah, I'll come back in next just to show off the heroes and the Troll again, with their highlights. So coming in at the end of all things, my Moria Goblin army is complete for the Final Fete of the Witch King. The last clip I did was yesterday. It is now the 28th of September, so a couple weeks to the tournament itself. But I'm going to be busy for the next couple of weeks with work, and I don't know how much time I get to do some painting. So I thought I'd get it done yesterday while I had a couple hours spare. And all it was just some final highlights on these guys. So if I show you the captain, so you can see I picked the teeth out. Teeth look maybe a little bit too white on camera, but in person they don't look too bad. It might just be the lighting I've got here, but no, they don't look too bad. And then all the other highlights was just on some of the armor plates. I did a highlight of, what silver was it? It was Ironbreaker. That's the one, Ironbreaker. So the one up from Wilt-Shire. Typically you do highlights with an even brighter silver, but because they're goblins, didn't want it too bright. But just on the plate by there, you can see, and that's all it was for this guy really. I didn't want to do anything else. On the sort of the leg armor as well, there's some nice bright lines on there. That's all it was for this guy. But I think I said it in this hobby vlog as well as the last one. The detail in these faces is quite remarkable, given that they are probably what, 16 years old, something like that. Very nice. Going to the shaman next. Again, all it was teeth, and I did a Mornfang brown highlight on the spear shaft there, where there's a bit of strapping, and again just a Ironbreaker highlight on the armor plating. Maybe a little bit too much on the back there, but oh well. And on the spear head itself, really like this model as well. Losing focus on him, so we'll move on to Durbers. He was probably the easiest to do, just because you got teeth and armor, and there's not a lot else, to be honest. So just a few highlights on him, particularly on the helmet as well. You should be able to see it there. There's some lighter bits of silver, and on his sword as well, just literally catching the edges. He's probably my least favourite hero model in this army, but that's nothing against it. Nothing against him personally. He is my leader after all. Probably the smartest choice, to be honest. And finally, the cave troll. Not a lot doing. It was literally getting a dry brush of, it was a Wilco paint actually, so you might have seen Derry talking about those paints a lot, particularly for scenery. It was just a light grey, particularly on his, what would you call those, little lumps, growths on his back, on his shoulders and on his legs. And then just another wash on the face I did to create a bit more detail. So I really like how his face looks now. His eyes have lost some of the what's the word, the brightness from before, just because they are only sort of really small eye slits. I didn't want them sort of bug-eyed really. And then just a wash, another dry brush of Kislev flesh, I believe, on the underbelly and his underarms and stuff like that. And then a wash as well, just to create a few more definition lines. Again, these models are 16 years old now, the Moria Goblin stuff. But tried to do my best with them. He also had a sort of a Mornfang brown highlight on his loincloth, I think you call that, just to create some extra colours so it's not so boring. So yeah, that is Moria Goblin army done, ready to wreak havoc on the Final Fete of the Witch King. Mel actually created a group chat for the event. We were all chatting last night about certain armies we're bringing. Everyone seems to be bringing rather cool stuff. I mean, Dowie, you would have known, he's bringing his Mahud, which is very cool. There's an all-mounted Rohan from David Clubley. There is a really nice themed Gondor force based around Ecthelion by I think Scott Whitefoot, which looks very cool as well. So I'm sort of going massively Horde, whereas everyone's bringing something cool. But my theme I'm going for is sort of ambushing Balin's tomb type thing. So what Pippin awakes and what arrives to meet them in the tomb. Heroes obviously are, if you're doing pure theme, it would just be captains. But I'd imagine they'd have a shaman, and Durba's there, seeing as he is the king. So yeah, there is my force, and I'm bringing this hobby vlog to an end. So if you've enjoyed the video, make sure you comment, like, share and subscribe. Like our Facebook page, and we'll see you soon.